I'm going to show you a quick shortcut to learn dependent and independent variables that will help you to move into how to build a model, but also regression analysis. So it's really pretty simple. The dependent variable always goes on the left-hand side, and then this is a gross over simplification of a regression model. So when you're thinking about dependent and independent variables, the dependent variable is the thing that you were trying to describe. So the book definition, I'll go ahead and read. The dependent variable is the effect in the causal relationship. The independent variable represents the causal factor in an explanation. But again, when you put it in an equation, I think it makes a lot more sense. So the dependent variable is the thing that we want to explain. So we want to explain, and I'm going to use the triangle change symbol. So we want to explain change in the dV, and we do so by identifying possible causal factors, which are represented by an independent variable. And I'm using lowercase here, but we actually usually use uppercase. And when we get to regression analysis, it really won't matter because you'll be using the variable names. So I'll give you an example of what this looks like. So if I'm looking at voter behavior, if I'm trying to explain, I'll put vote choice by women in 2020. So if that's the thing that I'm trying to explain, that's a pretty specific dependent variable. So my dependent variable is on the left. What might explain vote choice by women in 2020? Well, I know income drives voting behavior to some extent. I also know education. I'm going to put party ID. So that's a variable that you saw a little bit in the first couple of weeks where it's capturing maybe the degree of how strongly somebody affiliates with a party. And then you continue to add in your other possible independent variables. And at the end, there's always an error term. We'll talk more about that when we get to regression analysis. But this is the error, or in the case of like a poll, it might be called the margin of error, but we just call it basic error when we're writing out a model here. So this is, again, a really simple way to think about how to model something. So when you're thinking in your mind about something that you want to explain, it always goes on the left. So I just picked something that a lot of people are wondering about right now. What's going to drive vote choice by women in 2020? And then I would use the previous research to build out this equation with possible independent variables. So if you're wondering where these come from, again, it comes from the literature and existing studies, and then you have an understanding of what's been shown to cause different vote choices. Here, I'm pretty specific to women, and that's okay. There are other studies that look at voting patterns based on women. I could have women over here as an independent variable. So if you're interested in the behavior of a certain category of people, you can put it over here in the thing that you're trying to explain. Again, the dependent variable is what you're trying to explain, and then you can have different categories over here on the right.